Hello and welcome to this quick pitch video on Robustel's new and unique EV8100 VoIP gateway. The VoIP gateway was launched this year, 2024, by Robustel to service a whole variety of opportunities that are emerging in the market. One of the primary applications is for use in elevators, but it's also being used anywhere where there's PSTN switch off or 2G, 3G sunsetting, and other applications as well. There's a whole myriad of uses. So before we get into a little bit more of the detail, let's quickly introduce the product, one of the first off the production line. And on this end, let's introduce the interfaces. So we have 9 to 30 volt DC power, a couple of Ethernet ports, can be LAN or WAN, lots of I/O that we'll come on to shortly, and the FXS port, which provides VoIP or VoLTE or DTMF comms when connected to any traditional analog handset or audio interface. On the other end, we have two Wi-Fi antennas, two cellular antennas. We have a dual SIM slot, and here you'll see the battery compartment on and off switch. And that leads us on to probably the most important piece information about this hardware is the battery compartment slot. So already we're seeing customers taking great interest in this product, not because of the VoIP capabilities, but simply because it has effectively an integrated UPS. So by putting two 18650 batteries in there, you can achieve a hold-up time of around 8 hours before the product goes offline in the event of a power failure. And that's really important because if you're operationally responsible for some systems but not for power loss, it means you don't incur the cost of a site visit. And it also means you might get the entire system back up and running and your customers will never know that there was a power outage. So that's a quick overview of the hardware. Now we'll move on to a lot more detail. Okay, now let's take a deeper dive into the EV8100 VoIP gateway. So we've just touched on hardware, but there's a few things worth looking at in a bit more detail. So the I/O is quite comprehensive in line with the requirements of some of the elevator applications, but can be useful in all types of projects. So we have RS-232 and RS-485 ports. The RS-485 can be used for Modbus RTU devices, and using edge to cloud, we can send that data directly into AWS or Azure or any other MQT broker environment. There's 4 digital inputs that will be useful for monitoring various items. And we have a CAN interface. So higher layer protocols could be put onto the box as well to use the CAN interface. And there's relay and all the myriad of other things that we've already discussed. So here's a conceptual view of the EV8100. The EV8100 is an analog telephone adapter, an ATA. It's a 4G router with battery backup. And because of the way the operating system is built on Debian, you can actually install your own applications from the Debian repos, all sorts of different pieces of software that are compiled for ARM CPUs. So we have the voice, the 4G router function, and the Raspberry Pi capabilities. Sorry about that. Hello? Yeah, Russ, I'm recording a video on the EV8100. So that's one of the downsides of having an EV8100 is once it's set up to be a SIP server, not only can you make calls, but you can receive them at any time. So putting the VoIP capabilities aside for a second, we're already seeing instant interest in the integrated UPS capability, basically a couple of 18650 batteries, and they will give the product a hold-up time of about 3 to 4 hours per battery. So you can get a lot of hold-up time from a couple of relatively very low-cost batteries. This is the operating system. There's no time to do a deep dive into this, but if you think there might be a business case to put your own software onto the EV8100, it's extremely well developed for you to do that, either natively or in Docker containers. So there are many options there. And this slide just would be the starting point of that investigation, should you want to follow that path. A quick note on the cellular voice types. I'm sure some of you out there are experts, others maybe just catching up on this topic. So for general VoIP SIP service, you would just use standard data APN. So it's literally the data connection that you would use for transferring information. You would embed the voice call there. In VoLTE, it's a little bit more involved, and there's a secondary APN on the particular network that you're using. So there's a dedicated VoLTE bearer as well as the default bearer, which is your typical data path. There's just a quick note to help position the different capabilities. RCMS, Robustel's cloud platform. We'll come on to a brief demo of that in a second. And a really important point to make is it's really isn't just elevators that need this sort of capability. There's many other PSTN uses that have established themselves over the last 100 years. And some of those that were already working on are fire alarms, taxi callers, general telemetry services, and also roadside cabinets for making emergency calls. So just in the first few months, we've already seen those applications emerging. So let's quickly jump into a product demo. So this is the main page of the EV8100 gateway. I've logged in on 192.168.1.1 to reach the device. Today is just a quick pitch, just so you get a flavor of what it's like, what the environment is. This is Robustel's new operating system, Robustel S Pro, so it's a lot more colorful and a lot more lively and altogether a bit more 2024, but it's because we got a nice big ARM processor and lots of flash and RAM relatively to run that service. Just a quick cherry pick of a couple of items. The cellular interface can be configured as it always could with bespoke APN settings, auto APN, everything you would expect around the 4G piece. Network interfaces. Robustel S Pro is actually a little bit more advanced, so you can select interfaces, you can drag and drop them, and you can actually run a kind of round robin load balancing across them as well. So there's lots and lots of options using Debian under the bonnet now, so it's really powerful. All of the usual VPN options that you would expect. If there's anything you don't see there, we've already got customers running things like Tauscal natively in the Debian environment. Services, RCMS for connecting to the cloud platform that we'll come on to shortly. Voice call, this is everything relating to the voice gateway setup. In fact, that will have been the number that I just got called on. VoLTE settings, there's a huge amount in here. So all of the advanced options that you would need to establish a voice service and to deliver DTMF tones over that voice service. And a final look at Flash Manager. So this could be useful if you are running your own software on here. This is just a little thing to make sure you've got confidence that the way your application talks to the native Flash on board isn't going to wear out that NAND flash, which all mainstream products use these days. But with finite read-write cycles, we just think it's a nice little sanity check that the behavior is in line with what an MLC NAND flash device would need. So just a little bit of risk reduction. The one other thing that you can do here, and we'll be able to demo to you today, is it's very easy to set yourself up as a user that can access the underlying Debian environment. So anyone who knows and loves the Linux command line, here you can see all of the usual commands. You've got root access, and this is how you would install various applications. And all the processes running there. And I'm actually reaching that over Robustel's VPN service. So anything running in RobustOS, anything running in Debian can all be reached using Robustel's Robust VPN service. And so just very briefly to conclude, again, none of this is a deep dive. It's a quick pitch on the EV8100 and the associated capabilities around it. So this is the cloud platform, and there are many things in here that are useful, but just for today's purposes, I just want to share with you the estate log. So every single device on this account, the real-time events are propagating into the device from the devices in the field. So it could be 1, 10, 100, 1,000 devices in the field. And so you can see events like router gone from online to offline, a no battery warning. There's also patch lead. So if your Ethernet cable is taken out or put in unexpected, you can get all of these events to propagate. And in fact, the most important one for the EV8100, or one of the most important ones, is when you lose power. So we can see that on the 24th of May today, during the setup process for this brief demo, you can see that this device, which is an EV8100, the external power was lost, but because we had batteries inside, we were able to hold it up and get the alert away. So much more to discuss, but this is just a very succinct overview of all the capabilities of Robustel's new EV8100 VoIP gateway. So I hope that was useful. Thank you very much for your time. If you need any more information, commercial or technical, please reach out to your local Robustel representative or email support@robustel.com. Thanks very much. Bye for now.